Welcome to a new edition of Candid Campbell. It's great to be here in the studio with our Dean of Students, Dean Campbell. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's great to be here today.
Over the summer, there was a lot of media on campus. There's a lot of controversy. Now that everything is over and the air is cleared, what is your reaction to the whole situation?
Well, you know, the media starting from March when Gary passed, they were here and it was a big media onslaught. I think a lot of things came out of that were positive. I think the work of the Alcohol Task Force was a very, very positive outcome. Obviously, we still feel very, very sad for the Diversely family. We still feel very sad for Gary. Although I think that right now, when you look at what the task force has done, I think that we've affirmed that Greeks have a place on our campus. We've affirmed that we want to make the campus safe and work from there. We've added some more educational programs, and all that was good. And we've gotten a lot of good publicity for that in the national press, although some of that had been, mistaken that we're not a dry campus, as some of the things say. As far as my situation, I'm just glad that's behind me, and I, really, really appreciated the support. I received over 3,000 emails, letters, other expressions of support from the community, from students, from alumni, from other colleagues, and that was really gratifying for both me and my family. But that's behind me. I'm, still praying that we get good outcomes, and hoping that the family and stuff can move on with, in whatever we can do to support the family and support efforts I want to try to do.
And as far as media coverage after the event, with the task force being created and different things like that, I know the New York Times article was written, and I took the time to write a letter to the editor to correct a lot of the mistakes that they made in these articles. Why do you think they're making such mistakes?
I wish I knew. The biggest mistake that comes out in most of the media is that we've become a dry campus, and obviously we haven't become a dry campus. Those who are 21 can still have alcohol beverages in their room. We have pub nights. We've expanded our pub nights. We have the ability now for organizations to reserve the pub for events. So we haven't really become a dry campus. What we have is become more mindful of how we can work with students to create a very safe environment, and that's really where the whole problem is. I'm not sure why the media has changed things a little bit and where they got the notion of a dry campus, because that's just not true. Also our house directors are really been an asset because they've been able to allow us to do more evening programs because we have more staff. And they're also there to be consultants and help the Greek leadership. Far from being the watchdogs they were portrayed, and they're there to help and consult and work with the Greek leadership and the house leadership to answer questions, provide advice, and work with them. And so I think it's been a good asset.
Now, for those who saw the New York Times article, it said watchdogs, like you just brought up. Exactly what are they referring to? RDs?
The house directors are professional members of the student affairs staff that are working with the Greek houses. They are there to help enforce policy, of course, but mostly they're there to advise the Greeks, the house leadership that's there, the president, the executive committee, work with the students, work with the house managers. They also provide other support areas, in programming and student activities and community standards. They work very closely with community service. So they've been an asset beyond that. So to depict them in one dimension as sort of a rule enforcer is a very limited view.
One of the big issues on campus is this talk about the strike. So what insight can you give into this situation?
Well, I'm not part of the negotiations, so I don't sit at the table, so I really can't comment because I'm not there. All I can say, from what I'm aware, is that neither side wants a strike. I think both sides are very committed to a fair and equitable resolution of the issues. We have had a good working relationship with our faculty, and I know that both sides want this to come out and work it without any kind of actions.
On the heels of the threat made against Rider University and other colleges on September 11th, the Rider alert system was put into place. How do you feel the system worked out for all the students on campus?
I think the Rider Alerts has been a very positive way for us to improve our communications with our community. I think the Rider Alert system, through its ability to do text messages, emails, voicemails, both to landlines and to cellular phones, has given us the ability to communicate very quickly in a variety of ways with our community. Now, that doesn't mean it's the only communication we have, because we still have building marshals that are there on the ground that will be able to give instructions if needed. We still have the old paper posters that will go up on the walls. So it's part of a layered system of an approach to communications in cases of emergency. So I think that's added to our security on campus. That, along with the some 40+ blue light telephones that are on both our campuses, again, add a chance for security to be increased and for students to feel a bit more safety. I think when you look at the Rider Alert system, and I'm hoping those who have not signed up will sign up, because it's a very easy sign up on the web using your Easy Pass. I hope they will sign up because it not only will communicate to you, but it also communicates to parents. During the bomb hoax that we had on September 11th, I think we were able to communicate with the parents, which calmed a lot of parent fears as well. So I think it's a good thing.
And have the blue lights been effective, the addition of them?
Well, they certainly are more visible. Knock on wood, we haven't had to use them anywhere, and that's a good thing. But they certainly have been beneficial, I think, and I think the students are able to see that we have a lot of options. I still ask students, beyond the blue lights, is to make sure your cell phone that you carry with you is programmed to the public safety office as well. So in case of emergency or something, you always have a speed dial on your cell phone to call as well.
Well, and another issue that was raised during President Rosansky's town hall meeting would be the addition of some new residence halls. What is some insight you could provide into the addition of these residence halls?
Those residence halls are going to be very nice. We're hoping to open them May 2009, to have them completed by May 2009, so the fall of 2009 they'll be ready for student occupancy. They're going to be back near Mauer Gym, in the woods back by Mauer Gym, and they're going to be apartments and suites for the most part, so that we can add to our stock for upperclassmen who want more privacy and want more freedom to live in a style other than a double-loaded corridor and other than a double room. As in the new residence halls, some of the apartments will have stoves and full kitchens, and the suites will have a lot more space, and there'll be washers and dryers in the room. So I think it's going to be very nice. We're looking to build 152 beds, hopefully, and get that done. Again, we want to have it done by May of 2009. We're in the planning with the architects right now. The different design options are on the table, and I'm excited about them.
Now, moving on to the specific areas of the task force, mainly their summary of recommendations. What ones can you talk about off the top of your head that have been implemented, and how do you feel they are going at this point?
Well, a lot of them have been implemented. Obviously, our new alcohol policy is in effect, and the big feature there is that where it used to be on the first strike, it was optional whether to talk to the parents and get them involved. Now we're doing it right away. And that's been effective. When I've talked to parents, students, we've actually created a partnership between the university, the parents, and the student to try to make sure that the student gets the help they need if they need it, or help understands what underage drinking can do to them. I think also we've added the new alcohol EDU program, which is a computerized program on alcohol education that all freshmen are required to complete in order to register for their classes. That program provides a lot of good information, and also gives them some knowledge that they can take and have a little baseline for a test there too. But also it compares their drinking behaviors to other Rider students and other college students nationally, so they can get an idea of how they fit in and where their patterns fit in. So that's been a good thing. We've added more public safety, so we can have more public safety officers in the pub, so we can actually use the pub more for other events, as we talked about earlier. We were able to expand hours We're able to do, as you know, we've opened the pub now on some nights to both 21 and under 21 students. Obviously, only the 21 and over can drink alcohol. But the fact that we've heard from the students in the task force that they wanted to not be segregated by age, they wanted to be able to interact. And so the recommendations have helped us do that in the pub. We've added more public safety just on patrols. You'll see more public safety walking around in a community policing mode, the old police officer on the beat kind of thing, where the students can get to know them and work. And I think that's more added security. You also know that we don't have any more fraternity parties within the houses. Those, again, what we've done is try to move them to the pub so that we can still have them, but we were able to have them in an environment that's more supervised. I think the other part of the policy that the task force recommendations that have been really good is we've got a new alcohol and drug prevention specialist. His name is Mark Fisher. His office is over in the counseling center, and he's working with the community, our community, the rider community, and the external community to try to build bridges for alcohol education and programming. He's also he is a certified alcohol and drug counselor, so he's been able to provide some of those services to some of our students who have needed it. And he's also able to bring a perspective to us on education that I think you know, we didn't have up until now. We didn't have anybody whose job it was to be in charge of education programs for substances, and I think having him, he'll keep us more mindful of all that. Those are the major things that we had, and I think it's been a very good process so far. The house directors we've already talked about, the training that we have for the RAs and the house managers, and for the tips training that we have for the bartenders, all of that have come under there. And I think the fact that we had a wide community representation on the task force and the makeup of students, faculty, and staff has really made this a very comprehensive approach.
I read online the Boston University, one of their daily newspapers, they were writing about the New York Times article, and they kind of paraphrased some of the things, and then they offered their reaction.
Right.
And one of their reactions was, well, you know, we feel that, you know, Ryder is addressing it by doing the task force, but we have alcohol education on our campus, we have classes.
Right.
What did we do prior to this? Didn't we have some sort of alcohol education?
We certainly did. It's not like it's a brand new thing. I think part of the perception is that we didn't have any of these. Many students will know we've done a lot of alcohol education. We had parental notification. We had the secure public safety patrolling and doing things. So a lot of that was there. I guess what the difference is that we've increased our presence in some of these areas. The Boston University article, I think, was also one that mistaken our alcohol policy for one that went to a dry campus. And I think there was some consternation on their part about you know, having a dry campus and how that isn't going to work. We recognize that alcohol is a part of the American culture. We also recognize that there are laws, and if we're going to be an educational institution, we have to educate our students on how to be responsible in their social use of alcohol.
So actually making Ryder a dry campus, in your mind, isn't the way to solve any of these issues?
I don't think so. Again, it's a fact of life in the American culture, and you know, we have to teach our students to be more responsible and become better citizens in our culture.
Now, last year it was announced that there was going to be a new international residence hall. What developments have been made about this residence hall?
The international residence hall was a concept to try to address the globalization of our curriculum. And that was something that was suggested through a faculty-student committee that we might consider, and we thought about doing it in G Hall, a residence hall floor or a wing to get started that where international students who wanted to go abroad, students who just came back from abroad, would be able to live together and continue the internationalization of their education. I think that was announced a little bit late last year, so we didn't get off, but we're still pursuing that for the following years. Now, that's different from our new residence hall. You were saying that we want the new residence hall to be a sustainable residence hall. We're looking for a LEED certification. LEED is the architectural certification that looks at environments, and there are lots of ways to do that. And I don't know exactly how that's going to be implemented, but the architects are working so we can get a LEED certification on that residence hall.
So if anybody is hearing some information about, environmentally sustainable residence halls and things like that, that really isn't directly related with the international residence
No,
hall.
there is a sustainability committee on our campus that is a faculty, student, administrative driven committee that is looking for ways that we can implement more sustainable practices across the campus. So there is that committee that's going on. The residence hall, the new construction, has an eye towards sustainability in its construction, and so we're working on that. And then the international residence hall is really a program within to try to complement our curriculum.
So it's a completely separate thing. So
Yes,
now
sir.
that's good. We've got that out of the way. Sounds good. Now, since we did bring up the environmentally sustainable, projects and moving more toward the direction of being more, global friendly with climate change and different things like that, has anything happened so far on that issue now that climate change has become such an important part of?
Yeah, I think Dr. Laura Hyatt is chairing the sustainability committee. I think that's they've done a good job. We've brought in some consultants, energy consultants, to give us recommendations on how we can better manage our energy. I haven't seen the report yet, but I know that they've done a lot of work to try to help us in our energy conservation. We're looking at ways that we could build in sustainability to projects we do on a daily basis, looking at our stationaries, looking at lots of things. So the committee, although it's a new committee, I think has had an impact in us bringing our awareness up, but also I think it's going to make some very important recommendations in the near futures that we'll be able to implement and save some money, which will help with tuition, I hope.
Now, overall, we know on this campus that you're one of the busiest people here at Rider, have a lot of different priorities and different things to work out. On your priority list right now, what is the issue or the main thing that you're working on that's taking up the most time?
I guess right now, this time of year it's always the time of year that we're trying to get students back into the campus, trying to get our student leaders situated so that they can really exercise good student leadership, working with the residence hall project as we talked about, and really trying to manage the culture so that the students have lots and lots of questions about the alcohol task force and the recommendations that were there. So working with students on how we're actually going to implement that. Those are the typical projects that we're working on. I think what really is that I spend a lot of time with different students individually and in groups to try to answer a lot of their questions and help them achieve what they want to achieve. And that's what I love doing, and that's where we're going. You've noticed that we've been implementing some new things, and Jan Free McCrupnick has done a great job of getting the dining hall situated so we can get better service through kiosks, and we still have some bugs with that, but I think it's getting better. Mm-hmm. You see that we've done some new things with renovating and refurbishing residence halls, and so all that keeps us very, very busy. But the bottom line, we're all here, whether we're administrative or faculty, we're all here for the students, and so our first priority is always the students.
And as far as the dining services on campus, from what you've been hearing from students and administrators, how do you feel it's been going so far this year? I
think it's been going well. I mean, the beginning of the school year, we brought in the different dining plans, and I think the students like the flexibility of choosing different dining options, having more Bronc Bucks. I think the addition of the Starbucks has been a hit for a lot of students. Starbucks sometimes is a little bit too expensive for my blood, but I do like a good cup of coffee, and Starbucks has been very, very good. I like the fact that we've added more dining lines in the Bronc Diner during the peak time for lunch. I think that has helped an awful lot. I think things are going well. The kiosk is going to be something that's going to take some getting used to and get some of the bugs worked out. We're hoping to move on to a system next semester or next year where we can order online before you get in there. So that would something we'd like to work on. And I got to tell you, the student government, your student leadership has been excellent in providing us input on where we're going. The idea for the Starbucks really came from the student government, and so we're listening to them. They are representing you well, and you deserve a lot of. This is one of the best student governments in the country, I believe. The way we have it operate with the Senate and the representation, they're not afraid to let us know their ideas. They're not afraid to let us know our opinions, and we work in partnership with them to try to do what we can.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. And
thanks so much, Nick. I
show.
appreciate it.
Make sure you continue to tune in to Channel 20, the Rider University Network, for all our programming. I'm Nicholas Balassi, and thanks for watching.